The story begins with a group of yakuza members from the Onori clan guarding the home of their clan leader. One of the members, Kinjiro, goes to meet his boss, Oyaji, to report that the geisha they ordered is on the way. While waiting, Oyaji complains about the tight security around him just because he received a death threat. He says this isn't the first time he's been threatened. However, Kinjiro explains that this threat could be more dangerous because it came from a mysterious group called Shiranokage. Not long after, the geisha arrives. Without wasting any time, Oyaji sends his men out of the room to be alone with the geisha. What they don't realize is that a hired assassin, dressed in modern samurai armor, sneaks up from behind. With no chance to escape, Oyaji is swiftly killed by the assassin. Hearing the geisha scream, Kinjiro and the others rush into the room. When they enter, Kinjiro is shocked to see his boss's lifeless body. When Kinjiro asks the geisha who killed the boss, she simply points to a group of samurai statues in the corner of the room. Immediately, Kinjiro's men start shooting at the statues, but no one is hiding behind them. Suddenly, the assassin appears from behind and starts taking out Kinjiro's men one by one. Soon after, the assassin faces Kinjiro directly, and they begin a fierce battle. In the middle of the fight, the assassin accidentally shoots the geisha. With the assassin distracted, Kinjiro quickly takes the chance to knock them down. Kinjiro then orders his men to stay alert, suspecting there might be more assassins around. Curious, Kinjiro removes the assassin's mask and is shocked to find that the assassin is a woman. Just as Kinjiro expected, another assassin begins attacking from the shadows, moving like a deadly ghost. After most of the clan members are killed, only Kinjiro and two of his men are still alive. But it doesn't take long for the second assassin to finish off the last two men. Now, Kinjiro is left to face the assassin alone. At that moment, the professional killer doesn't give Kinjiro any mercy, attacking him relentlessly. When Kinjiro tries to escape, the assassin quickly blocks his path. In his final moments, Kinjiro asks why the assassin wants to kill him too, even though they already killed his clan leader. The assassin coldly replies that their mission is to wipe out the entire Onori clan. Refusing to negotiate, Kinjiro is killed by the assassin. After Kinjiro is dead, the assassin goes back to her partner. Seeing her partner in critical condition, she injects a serum to help. Moments later, their mission is complete. On the way back to their base, the second assassin, known as Instructor Umbra, seems disappointed that her partner, the first assassin, didn't handle the mission properly. The first assassin, called 13, protests, saying they successfully killed the main target. However, the mission is considered a failure because 13 lost focus and accidentally shot the geisha, leaving her seriously injured. Their organization's goal has always been clear that they are trained not to help or negotiate, but to kill. They are sent to eliminate and nothing else. As a result, 13 is suspended from her duties. Umbra, however, has another mission in Cambodia, so she cannot stay with 13 during her suspension. Even so, she hopes her junior will reflect on her failure and remember that their only purpose is to complete their missions until the end. The scene continues with 13 spending her break just training, without doing any missions. She got so bored of just staying at home that she kept trying to contact her mentor, Umbra, through a secret payphone line. Unfortunately, the operator kept telling her there were no new instructions from Umbra. In the end, 13 had to go home without hearing anything from her mentor. That night, at her apartment, 13 suddenly woke up after hearing some noise outside her room. She peeked out the window and saw one of her neighbors arguing with someone. But since 13 couldn't get involved in other people's problems, she decided to ignore it. The next day, 13 was shocked to see so many police officers in her apartment building. It turned out the neighbor who was arguing yesterday had been reported dead. Later, while 13 was eating meatballs at a street stall, a young boy came up to her. The boy asked for some of her food, saying he hadn't eaten since yesterday. Seeing the hungry boy, 13 gave him her food without hesitation. The boy was Manji, the son of her neighbor who had died. 13 told him that she knew about his mom's serious argument. However, Manji replied that it was just part of his mom's dangerous job. Even though Manji acted like he didn't care, 13 could tell he was deeply hurt by his mother's death and wanted revenge on those who had harmed her. Eventually, Manji told 13 that he didn't believe the police's autopsy report, which said his mom died from an overdose. He revealed that his mom was actually killed by someone named Haga. Hearing this, 13 realized that Manji was dealing with a very dangerous person. The next day, 13 was still worried about Manji, who was living alone. She decided to stop by Manji's house to check on him. But when she arrived, she found the door open and Manji was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, a man walked into the house. 13 quickly hid before she was spotted. The man's name was Jackie, one of Haga's men, who had come to take some evidence from the house. While Jackie was distracted because he was high on drugs, 13 came out of her hiding spot and asked him where Manji was. Unfortunately, Jackie refused to give any information. Realizing Jackie wasn't going to cooperate, 13 had to use force to make him talk. In the end, Jackie agreed to take 13 to meet Haga. When they arrived at a club called Moon Roses, they met Haga's twin sister, Soraya. There, Jackie told Soraya that he brought 13 as a special gift for Haga. Turns out, their plan worked, and Soraya believed them, allowing them to enter a secret room inside the club. Before meeting Haga, Soraya searched 13's body to make sure. But when Soraya asked 13 for her real name, 13 stayed silent because she didn't know her real name. Luckily, Jackie managed to trick Soraya once again. After Jackie met with Haga to report the evidence, 13 used the chance to check the CCTV footage. From the recordings, 13 discovered that Haga was indeed the one who kidnapped Manji. Realizing this, 13 quickly went to find Haga. After knocking out Soraya, 13 had to face Haga directly. At that time, 13 asked where Manji was, but Haga stayed silent and attacked her instead. Of course, 13 didn't just stand there and let herself be attacked. Using her ninja-like fighting skills, 13 fought back against Haga. Not long after, Soraya regained consciousness and grabbed a rifle to shoot 13. Luckily, 13 moved quickly and used Haga as a shield, so Soraya's shot accidentally hit her own brother. Though 13 managed to escape safely thanks to Jackie, Jackie refused to help further because he didn't want to get more involved. Meanwhile, at the police station, Inspector Presidio was interrogating a witness who had been beaten up for refusing to give false testimony. Soon after, Presidio received a call about Haga's death. It turns out that Presidio was a corrupt cop who was friends with Haga. Seeing Haga's dead body, Presidio began to cry and swore to hunt down the person who killed his friend. Elsewhere, Haga's other friend, Ariel, was being scolded by his father, who demanded that Ariel clean up the mess he made so it wouldn't affect his father's political campaign. Ariel's father was running for governor of Jakarta and often used dirty money. Afterward, Ariel went to the basement where Manji had been held captive all this time. Frustrated with everything happening because of the boy, Ariel took out his anger in a strange way. Meanwhile, Jackie arrived home, where he lived with his seriously ill mother. Not long after, Presidio and his men came to ask about 13. Luckily, 13 showed up just in time before Presidio could do anything dangerous that might harm Jackie and his mom. Even though she had to fight Presidio's men alone, 13 didn't back down and took them down one by one. She used anything she could find as a weapon, from guns and knives to even a frying pan. Unfortunately, Presidio managed to escape while 13 was busy dealing with his men. Of course, 13 wasn't going to let Presidio get away. With the speed of a professional motorcycle rider, she chased after Presidio. But suddenly a car hit her. Turns out, the car belonged to Ariel, who had come to help his friend. At that time, Presidio was pleased to see 13 defeated. However, 13 wasn't done yet and launched a surprise attack on Presidio. This time, she didn't hold back. She bit off Presidio's ear and stabbed both his eyes. After learning that both of his friends were killed by the same person, Ariel was furious. He captured 13 and locked her up in the basement where Manji was also being held. To get revenge, Ariel planned to kill 13. However, his father arrived just in time and stopped him. He said that 13's skills could be useful for getting rid of their rivals. The next day was the day of a big illegal deal. According to their plan, after the deal was done and they safely returned to the car, 13 was supposed to eliminate Cabell and his men. Meanwhile, Jackie and Manji were in the car with Ariel's father. At that time, 13 was tasked with bringing the goods to Cabell in exchange for $2.5 million. After the transaction was completed, Ariel ordered 13 to take out Cabell. But just as 13 was about to act, they suddenly heard Jackie shouting that Manji had died. After the news of Manji's death spread, Cabell realized that he had been tricked by Ariel and his gang. Feeling betrayed, Cabell ordered his men to attack Ariel's group. Then a huge fight broke out between the two sides. Even Ariel's father wasn't safe, as Cabell's men shot and killed him. Seeing his father die, Ariel became furious and started shooting everyone in sight. After taking down all of Cabell's men, Ariel turned his attention to Cabell himself. Cabell tried to escape by getting into his car, but Ariel, now wearing a strange mask, caught up and brutally killed him. But Ariel's revenge didn't end there. His next target was 13. Ariel kept shooting at 13, but luckily, she managed to escape and cornered Ariel by ramming into his car. After the gunfight, they began fighting hand-to-hand. However, 13's fighting skills were far superior, and in the end, Ariel was completely defeated. After all the enemies were defeated, 13 and Jackie took Manji's body with them. But along the way, they were kidnapped by members of the Shadow, including Umbra. Their leader told 13 that she had made a huge mistake by getting involved in someone else's problem, which could put their organization in danger. Because of this, 13 had to be eliminated. When Umbra was about to execute 13, Jackie stepped in to stop her, but sadly, Jackie was killed. At that time, 13 tried to escape, but was chased by Umbra. With nowhere left to hide, 13 had no choice but to fight Umbra. Even though Umbra was her senior, 13 didn't back down. With courage and determination, she faced Umbra in a fierce battle. Thanks to her quick thinking, 13 managed to defeat Umbra, who was injured by a bomb. Although Umbra removed it just in time, she was still badly burned. At that moment, the leader showed up, ready to finish off 13. But unexpectedly, Umbra stood up and tried to protect 13. 13 wanted to give Umbra a healing serum to save her life, but Umbra refused. In her final moments, Umbra revealed that 13's real name was Nemo. In the end, 13 buries Manji next to his mother's grave. At the same time, an assassin with the code name 14 shows up, sent to kill 13. But suddenly, someone helps 13, and with no choice, 14 is forced to retreat. The person who saved 13 was Master Burai, the former mentor of Inspector Umbra. At that moment, Master Burai invites 13 to join him in fighting all her enemies. Hearing that, 13 agrees to form an alliance with Master Burai. As he takes off his mask, Master Burai tells 13 that she is now his responsibility. The scene ends on a cliffhanger, leaving the audience curious about what will happen next. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is sometimes saving the day just means burying your problems and hoping a mysterious masked guy shows up to help. But hey, if an assassin shows up, make sure to have a shovel and a new mentor ready.